Welcome everyone. I'm Rowan Crockett, Grower Services Manager for our Northern region, and I'll be your host for this webinar, which is being held in place of physical grower meetings for our Walgett, Cryon, Merrywinebone, Burren Junction and Merah North sites. 2020 has certainly already been a big year for everyone. And while a lot of things haven't gone to plan this year, one positive has been the return of some decent rainfall to our region. As a result, we find ourselves on the doorstep of what looks like being the best harvest for a number of seasons. While it's an exciting time for the industry, there is also a lot riding on this crop. And we are not underestimating the importance of getting the crop off to generate some badly needed cash flow for rural communities. This afternoon, you will hear a number of updates on a variety of topics around delivering safely to your GrainCorp site this harvest. No doubt, as we discuss some of these topics, it will lead to further questions. And you've probably noticed by now that this session is equipped with a chat feature on the right-hand side of your screen. You're more than welcome to put forward a question at any time, and we have saved some time at the end of the webinar to answer any questions that we don't feel has been covered off during the presentations. Given it's a busy time of year, I'll aim to wrap this up in under an hour, so please understand we may not be able to get to all questions, specifically those that go into a lot of detail about site-specific operations. But if you do have a question put forward that doesn't get answered, you can certainly expect a call from the appropriate person to discuss your query following this webinar. To kick off our presentations today, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Klaus Pamminger, our Chief Operating Officer, to say a few words. Afternoon, Klaus. I'll throw
you. Hey, Rowan. Thank you.
Very well, thanks.
Welcome. Welcome to the Area Pre-Harvest Grower webinar. As Rowan said, we've gone digital this year to make sure everyone stays safe and we are efficient. So thank you for logging on today. We're looking forward to partnering with you this upcoming harvest. My name's Klaus Pamminger, and as Rowan said, I'm the Chief Operating Officer of GrainCorp. After the last few years of drought on the east coast of Australia, we're really looking forward to this harvest, and we have no doubt you are as well. It'll be a busy time for our business, your business, and the community. Our local teams want to ensure we provide a safe, efficient service throughout this harvest. Today we'll provide with an update, as Rowan said, on our business and some changes to expect at your site this harvest, as well as answer any questions you may have. As a general update for GrainCorp, we have completed the successful demerger of our malt business in February last year, or this year actually, which is now separately listed on the Australian Stock Exchange. This has left GrainCorp in a very strong position with zero debt. Our new Chief Executive Officer, Robert Spurway, started in March 2020, and unfortunately, due to COVID, has not been able to visit many of you, but he'll be looking forward to being able to get out when allowed. As far as the harvest preparation is concerned, during the recent months, we have been actively planning to make sure we're well set up for harvest. We've ensured that equipment and labour will be in place to service your needs. We've opened around 3,000 open positions, casual positions across our network, and I can share with you that we've had 5,000 applicants so far, making sure we can service your needs as you deliver to our sites. Harvest is already underway in central Queensland, and we will be opening up various sites as harvest progresses. We have invested significantly in additional equipment for this upcoming harvest, including many new bunker tarps, stackers, and drive-over hoppers to make sure when you deliver to our side, we get you unloaded efficiently and quickly for you to be able to return to your paddock. As far as COVID-19 preparation is concerned, you'll hear some more about the changes we are making to make sure we keep you your business and our staff safe. The team will run through some of these changes today. If you have questions about these changes, please ask during the webinar or alternatively, your site manager or your grain marketer after the webinar. We've invested in digital platforms over the last few years, and they will really help us this year to make sure we avoid contact between people, that is you, our customers and our staff, to make sure everyone stays safe. We have our industry-leading 2-day payment via Crop Connect and our fast waste system to make sure things move efficiently. Again, you'll hear more about this later. On behalf of GrainCorp, I'd like to wish you a safe and prosperous harvest. And once again, thank you for taking the time to log on today.
Thanks, Klaus. Appreciate your words. As I mentioned earlier, 2020 has certainly been a year of surprises, and I'm certain most would agree COVID-19 has been the biggest of them all. At GrainCorp, we're certainly taking the COVID situation very seriously, and I'd now like to welcome our next guest, Luke Vanderwerth, our Regional Operations Manager for Northern New South Wales, to share with us a few thoughts and ideas on some of the policies that he and his team have brought together to help keep us safe and our sites remain open for deliveries during harvest. Welcome, Luke.
Thanks, Rowan.
Can you start by giving us some insights into the measures you and your team have introduced to help keep our sites safe and open?
Yeah, since the COVID-19 pandemic began, we've been proactively reviewing our processes to keep you and your business safe this harvest, whilst minimising any impact on our site's efficiency. To ensure we minimise contact between GrainCorp staff and visitors at all times on site, we've introduced the removal of access inside our sample stands to growers and also our weighbridges. We're particularly aiming to minimise movement of truck deliveries on our site, including social distancing and hygiene measures. These will be enforced as standard practice at all times. How do we do this? I suppose there's a couple of key steps. As soon as you arrive on site, contract tracing is a new tool we'll be using for this harvest to manage that. All visitors will need to record when they visited site. This includes both parties in a truck, if there is still in a truck. This can be achieved two ways, either by scanning the site QR code or for those without a smartphone, there's a manual process. It's pretty simple. Once on site, scan the code, tick contractor or visitor. Takes a couple of minutes to set up the first time, then it's only 20 seconds every visit after that. QR signs will be readily available around the site, so as you turn up, you can just scan it and we can trace who's been on site. There's also another change, use of the updated delivery advice form. This will be key to tracking and minimising contact with our staff. There's an updated delivery advice form which can be found on the seasonal update website. You can contact your site manager or the customer and commercial team to get a Word doc that can be pre-populated or just completed by hand. Delivery advice form must be used for every delivery. This is every load and every sample to be tested on site. When delivering samples to site to get tested for moisture, protein, just must be delivered in a Ziploc bag with your delivery advice notice in it. We'll take that off you. We'll then go and do the sample, and then we'll call you as soon as possible with the results for that. We won't be handing back the delivery advices. They'll be going in the bin to start the process all over again, trying to keep hygiene to a minimum and transmissions low. The next change is the no option to select cash or transfer to contract at the sample stand or weighbridge. This is to minimise, again, contact between driver and staff. All deliveries will be placed in the warehouse and can be transferred via the Crop Connect or Grower hotline. We will still collect NGR, paddock details, treatment status and vendor decks at the sample stand or weighbridge and maintain active live pricing at our sites. And then the next step, no transferring the clipboards around the site. The driver will still have the clipboard with the initial paperwork, Any paperwork required will not be handed back, will not be signed. We have put in other measures that we've increased the text on the paperwork, so you just pull up the bit of paperwork, you'll show that to the hopper attendant, he'll visually inspect it to make sure it's the right hole, right hopper, and then the truck driver can unload. Look, we'll continue to proactively review all COVID safe plans and restrictions that have been in place, and we'll update you directly. That's about it from me. Rowan, any questions?
Look, just a few from me, and I guess with the aim of dispelling a few myths that have probably been floating around. You did cover some of these, but I'll just ask them anyway to clarify a few grey areas. The first one is as a grower, when I turn up to deliver my first load, will GrainCorp staff be unrolling my tarps and cracking my tailgate at the hopper?
As previous years, we won't be touching trucks or tailgates or tarps. It'll be up to the driver to complete that.
Various rumours that there'll be no grower samples tested this harvest, that growers won't be able to drop in a sample pre-delivery. Is that the case?
No, still, as explained before, you can still do your deliveries. You check your samples before starting. You still need to just follow the process of Ziploc bag, the new delivery advice, same process. Just need to drop it off, and we're just there to try and stop queuing around the sample stands. That we'll get back to you later.
Yeah. And as far as those paper delivery dockets, delivery advice rather, inevitably there will be trucks turn up at a sample stand that don't have one for whatever reason. What will the recourse be if a truck turns up without a docket?
The driver knows that he's missed the paperwork, hasn't got it. It's quite simple. Before he gets to the sample stand, just pull over. He can either go to the weighbridge or the sample stand. We'll have printed copies available. He can pre-populate that by just calling the grower or whoever has the details, and then he can proceed through to the sample stand and then pass that on to our employees to keep with all the other paperwork.
Great. And I guess one last question: do you think then these new measures will slow things down at all at harvest?
I think it'll be the opposite, actually. We do see that we have people congregating around sample stands and slow the process down. I think it will actually make it quicker in some areas to test, yes, but I can't see it slowing it down. If anything, there may be benefit to speed the process up.
Great. Thanks, Luke. I think everyone will be pretty happy to hear that. Now, before I introduce our next guest, I just wanted to make comment. We do have Matt Soman, who's our Quality Assurance Officer from Toowoomba online. Matt won't be actually presenting in today's session, but will certainly be available at the end to ask any questions. So if you do have any questions around grain quality, MRLs, etc., please send them through on the chat feature, and we'll call Matt up at the end to answer those. I'll now introduce our next guest, Tim Renault, who's the Area Manager for the Burren Junction cluster of sites. Afternoon, Tim.
Hey, Rowan, hello.
Just, I guess, to kick off, I understand it's been a pretty busy couple of months. Can you give us an insight into what's been happening in the region in recent times?
Yeah, look, firstly, just wanted to say hello to all those people who've dialed in. Thanks for making the effort today. It's been a long time. It's been a really tough couple of years, actually, and all our people have lived through the drought. We've had to tighten our belts and go through a lot of the same issues that our growers have. So I guess just want to acknowledge that we understand how important this harvest is, and we're all committed to doing the best job we can to get it in the bin for you and make it count. With that behind us, it's great to be preparing for a harvest again. It's fantastic. So Klaus has been taking care of our equipment, buying lots of stackers, which is great. We've been focusing on rebuilding our staff corps. So since the start of the year, we've been into that. Got about 25 really good people on board, and now we're right in the throes of about 260 harvest casuals. So that's pretty well going to be put to bed this week, and then it'll just be that's the easy bit, is engaging them. The hard bit's getting them on the books and training, getting them to site, looking after them, and so So that's all a lot of work, but really positive, and it's going well, and we're in line with where we need to be. Thanks, Rowan.
Very good. Thanks, Tim. Sounds like you've got plenty on your plate. You mentioned rebuilding the core. Can you just give us a quick run through at a site level on who the key people are in your area now?
Yeah, a few new faces. One that's been there since 16. So we've got Michael Miller at Cryon. We've got Jamie Chown at Merrywinebone. At Burren Junction, we've got Josh Maxwell. And at Walgett, we've got Nathan Crew, who was there in 16. So look, for me, we've got really good depth of experience in these guys. Haven't all got grain experience, but they're all working really well together. Experienced grain handlers coming back into the system as well for harvest to bring a lot of experience. So I've got every confidence in the team's ability to do a good job and deal with the issues that are going to arise in a really positive manner and work with our growers to deal with whatever comes up. Everyone's really customer focused. We understand that we need grain in our systems, and we've got to look after our growers. So that's our focus. Thanks, Ron.
Great, thank you. And you mentioned you've been busy getting ready. What improvements do you think growers will see when they turn up at the site this year?
Yeah, look, we've certainly got a better capacity, I think, to do a better job than 16. More stackers. It's about getting the trucks unloaded quickly. We're going to have trains coming into Burren. We've got a train every day booked in for 2 months there, starting in November, so that'll just help clear the line. We're going to have simpler site operations with some of our internal processes that again just leads to tipping the trucks off quicker. We're going to have 2 shifts on all sites, including Merah North, which we didn't have in 16. So, that ramping up to 24-hour operations, we really found that was, although we sort of found after a couple of days in 16 that people sort of died off after midnight, we were able to break the line by getting those early trucks coming in. So we weren't just opening up at 8 o'clock. We were actually getting things running and breaking that line straight away, and it was really good. So, there's an opportunity for people to come in during the night as well if they want a quick turnaround, but just keep us advised if you're going to do that. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. You mentioned there more stackers. Have you got just a few examples to give us as to what that'll mean from a capacity point of view at site?
Yeah, look, Merah North, I think we've got our SCE stackers, which is our 500 tonne an hour stacker. That's the biggest one we've got. We've got one of those at Merah North. So I think that'll be a really big improvement there. And also the ability to run 24 hours. Hopefully that'll be really appreciated in that area. Cryon we had a few issues there in 16, so we've got 2 of those SCE stackers there now, and they'll be running from the start, which is 1,000 tonnes an hour extra from the get-go. We're not just relying on that fixed stacker elevator there. So yeah, I think it really takes risks out of our system. We've got another road going through to aid the trucks running through that back bunker. So hopefully that'll really speed up that site and take some pressure off our other sites around. Thank you.
Very good. Sounds good. I guess looking at segregations, can you give us a quick run through of your sites and what commodities be available at each site?
Yeah, look, I'll run through the detail, but essentially there's only one change from 16, so no chickpeas at Burren Junction. The reason for that's pretty simple. We just want to do a good job on the wheat. Chickpeas at that site really choke us up, so everyone we've spoken to has had no issue with that, and we hope that's going to be a positive thing, just to do a good job on the wheat at Burren Junction. Excuse me. So we'll have standard wheat grades at all sites. Barley again at Walgett, barley at Merrywinebone, barley at Burren Junction. And with the chickpea piece, Walgett and Merrywinebone, we'll still have that segregation on those western sites. Where there's a long trip in the Narrabri, if we don't put it on out there. just touching on, some of our growers cross over into our Narrabri sites. So Weewar this year will be barley only, Narrabri will be breadwheat only, and Edgera will be taking durum.
Great.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Tim. Very, very comprehensive. I guess the only other one you mentioned a couple of questions ago about communicating. Can you give us a bit of a feel for what information you're wanting to hear from growers, both in the lead-in and during the harvest, and probably how your teams will communicate with growers as well?
Yeah, look, it's everyone to date's been really good with the comms. Just the more information we get, it just helps us plan our workforce, plan our equipment and sites. So ideally, this is how many headers and trucks we're running. This is the time of day we're going to send them in to you. Appreciate not everyone wants to give us that detail, but that's obviously the ultimate. If we could get that off everyone, it really helps us provide a better service. I guess a couple of things we wanted to do a little bit different this year, the Telstra messaging system. A few people have said it'd be great to get some more information from that. If you've got a breakdown, then they can move to other sites. If you've got spare capacity, if there's anything going on. So previously we've tried not to annoy people with that and just used it for opening and closing times. But I think that's a tool we can really use to keep the comms up to people in the area. COVID plans, Luke's touched on that. Look, from what I can see, I don't think it's going to be a big issue. I know people are concerned about the effect of it. I think main thing is just talk to your local site manager. From what I can see, the only changes are going to be not having people grouping up on top of the sample stands, and perhaps grower samples may be a little bit different, but it'll possibly, on our sites, it may possibly be, a table at a gate with an in and an out box that we just work through that. So I don't think there's going to be any major effect, to be honest. One other thing, I think it's a good news story, the overmass policy that we've had in previous years with a charity bin system. So that won't be in place this year. So if you have an overload, you tip it off, it doesn't go in the charity bin. Overloaded trucks will be allowed to tip off. You'll get a notification to your NGR email and mobile text message. And I suppose just the comment is there that all those weighbridge records are provided to the RMS. GrainCorp has to do that to enable us to participate in the harvest management scheme. I suppose that's the information from us. Information from growers, look, a couple of points here, heavy vehicles. So know that everyone's aware now there's been some opening up of AB triple access and different combinations into the area. Really can be difficult when we have these strange and new combinations coming through at harvest and you're having disagreements with people at the weighbridge. So really encouraging if you think you might have something on the edge, or if you've got a permit you're not sure of or whatever, or you've got a new combination, please touch base with your site manager. If we can get all your details, copies of your permits, we've got an expert team of specialists that on road transport, we can send it through before harvest, get it all sorted out. We all know where we stand, just one less thing we've got to worry about at harvest. I think that was the specifics. I think, again, just the more information we can get from you, better job we can do. Deliveries after midnight, if you want to come in and do that, that's great. Just please let us know, because we'll probably need to put a few more people on. Whilst we're open, those people normally get pulled off on bunker work. But yeah, if you want to come in at midnight, that's great. We'll just gear up for that. Chickpeas and barley, Merrywinebone and Walgett, just an extra couple of percent in what gets delivered to us can be some big tonnages. So realise the market's a fickle thing and not everyone's sure what they're doing, but it'd be great to get some info on that. And a lot of people are making plans for temporary on-farm storage, which is fine. Yeah, that's your risk management. More than happy to extend our receivable period, but again, just the more info we have on that is just helps us. So look, very positive. Great to be doing one of these meetings again, and good luck everyone for a safe, productive harvest. Thanks, Rowan.
Great, thanks, Tim, and good luck to you and your team too. You've got a busy time ahead, but sounds like you're well prepared.
Thank you.
Look, just a quick reminder before we introduce our next guest, and that's just around the question chat feature. If you do have any questions coming up, please send them through. I'll now introduce our next guest, who's Mitch Wheaton, our grain marketer for Burren Junction cluster, just to give us a few insights. Welcome, Mitch. How are you today?
Yeah, well, thanks, Rowan, and afternoon, everyone.
Mitch, I guess to start off with, it's been a while since a lot of growers have delivered to GrainCorp. Can you just give us a few pointers on what everyone should be doing to get ready prior to that first load coming in?
Yeah, no worries. So I guess just a couple of tips as we head into the harvest period that we've thought of. So just important to have your NGR details up to date, just with your relevant contacts on those NGRs, and particularly if there may be an additional a member that needs to be listed on the NGR, it'll be crucial if they're planning to transact through the harvest period with transfers. So that's probably one that's it's good to get on the front foot with. Another one would be just with Crop Connect. Important to check your login details are active. Crop Connect will be fairly important this harvest and a central point for growers and to manage their accounting of their deliveries, and be a central location to call to. So important to get familiar with Crop Connect this harvest. Another one would be just also worth looking through and just getting familiar with our harvest guides, which are available through the season update on our website. It'll go into some further detail on a few topics that we've covered today, and if there's any specifics worth referencing there, as well as contacting any one of us to get some further info.
Right. Thanks, Mitch. I guess you mentioned Crop Connect. What changes can we expect to see there if we haven't logged in for a few years?
Yeah, so just in summary, Crop Connect has gone through multiple improvements with some multiple functions built in recent years. Worthwhile becoming familiar with what is available and what you can do on this platform. Just to summarise a couple of, functions that have been built in is just the ability to complete title transfers to contract cash and pools, all very simple there. And feel free if you've got any queries just to contact just on how that occurs during harvest. Another one is just the live marketplace ability of Crop Connect. It gives growers the opportunity to access bids, place offers, and the ability to transact online via Crop Connect. Also, just another building in recent years has just been the accounting functions. So growers will have access to their RCTIs along with storage invoices and their delivery summaries in the one spot.
Great. Thanks, Mitch. I guess another area where there's been a little bit of change is just on our warehousing conditions. Can you just give growers a feel for what's changed in that space?
Yeah, that's right. So this harvest, growers will receive month of delivery plus 2 free months storage, which is an additional month on previous seasons. So as Luke mentioned earlier, with all deliveries being automatically warehoused, it's important to remember that your deliveries will pick up the free storage period, which gives growers opportunity while those tickets are in warehouse before you decide to transact. Worthwhile checking any eligibility of Croptimizer on those loads while in warehouse. Happy to go into some further detail on Croptimizer.
Yeah, look, probably a good idea, Mitch, if you could just fill us in a little bit on Croptimizer. It's a term that's been around for a few years, but not all growers are familiar with it. So if you could just give us a bit more detail on that.
That's right. So, yeah, those would be familiar. I guess, in essence, the system hasn't changed from previous harvests, but I guess it gives growers the opportunity to upgrade eligible loads in warehouse to an adjacent higher base grade, as long as it fits the 3-point criteria for eligibility. This harvest, we'll be able to provide SMS reminders to growers to prompt, I guess, to check in with what loads you may have eligible in your warehouse. And once you get a reminder, it's worthwhile giving the grower hotline a call to check those eligible loads, and that will be your point of reference for Croptimizer this harvest to check those eligible loads, and definitely worthwhile touching base with the grower services team via the hotline to check in.
Yep. Just on the hotline, can you give us a bit of detail as to who and who's behind the hotline, where they're located, etc.?
Yep. So our grower services team forms part of the grower hotline, which is our 1-800 number, and they're based out of Tamworth. So they obviously a local reference point for all your accounting queries. They'll be able to assist with ticketing, Crop Connect queries as well. So in the lead up to harvest, if you've got any queries on your account within Crop Connect, definitely give the grower hotline a call and they can help with your setup there. And yeah, definitely feel free just to have a play around with Crop Connect, and the grower hotline will be able to help out there where needed.
Great. Thanks, Mitch. We certainly encourage everyone to reach out. That's a great local resource we've got to help with any issues you're having. And finally, Mitch, I guess just on grain markets and pricing, who should growers be contacting for information there, and how can they access our pricing?
So I'll be a central point for the marketing side of the area. So I form part of the grower marketing team based out of Tamworth. So we have a central phone line which is available on the information pack following this meeting. We're able to assist with all price inquiries. Big one this year will be the two-day payment terms which we've been implemented. So we're available to help with forward contracting as we lead into harvest. As well as harvest pricing throughout, and to assist on the transactions where possible. Probably another one just on the communications side. Look, if you are wishing to subscribe or looking for more information from GrainCorp marketing ourselves with regards, I guess, bid sheets and pricing updates, feel free to contact myself or any of the other marketers to get subscribed there. Obviously live pricing will be based on Crop Connect this year, and strongly recommend just referencing that pricing point. But if you've got any other queries, feel free to definitely contact myself or any one of the marketers. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Mitch. I think you better make sure your phone's charged up. It's going to be a busy few months. Look, that concludes our presenters for this afternoon's session. We do have a little bit of time up our sleeves, so we'll look to try and answer a few questions that have been coming in now. Look, firstly, we've got one which I'll probably throw to Tim Renaud on, and that is Burren Junction only taking bar 1 barley or feed barley? And second question, or second part of that question, is will the sample stand be open for barley samples as early as the end of next week? Over to you, Tim.
Yeah, just be feed barley, and the name's changed since I last saw it. But yeah, certainly anytime you want to sample, we've got people there. We're right to roll. Same as receivables. We've had a few calls when you're opening for receivables. We're opening whenever you want to bring it in, so all good to go. Perhaps that barley seg, I think that's bar 1 and bar 2. Matt Simon might be able to assist me there.
Yep, that's right, Ken. Bar 1 and bar 2.
Very good, thank you. While we've got you there, Matt, I might ask one to you that's popped up. So I see on the new GrainCorp delivery advice, there's a question around glyphosate usage. Can you just give us a bit of information as to why that's important to be declaring, I guess, more specifically for certain commodities?
Yeah, thanks, Ron. Afternoon, everyone. Yeah, we have some mandatory fields on our receivables. So for barley, there is a mandatory field there that the samplers will ask the grower or their representative whether that grain has been treated with glyphosate. And if the barley has been treated with glyphosate, then the highest possible grade it can make is BAR1. And if it hasn't been treated, if it hasn't been treated, it can make malt, depending on obviously the other parameters. We also have a mandatory field for durum this year, where for glyphosate, but if it has been treated, we will record that and also take a sample. While there are MRLs for glyphosate for durum for some of the markets, there are some customer requirements. So that just helps us be able to track each stack and whether the status of the treatment is on that row.
Fantastic. Thanks, Matt. Look, the next one I might go to you, Luke. And I have heard this one come up a little bit. Can a grower use their own delivery dockets if they provide the same information as a GrainCorp delivery advice form?
Yeah, can't see why. If it's exactly the same, got exactly the same information, would be better if we used the GrainCorp ones. That way the staff and the team are looking at the same docket, same field, same parameters. And again, I think if we're using the same docket, it will flow easily, will flow into our systems and speed up harvest receivables.
And if someone did want to, where should they go just to check it off and make sure that we're comfortable with it?
Site managers, our area manager, or even anyone in the custom commercial team would be the best point of call.
Yep. Very good. Thank you. Look, I think that's all we've got on the questions front. So I guess we're looking to wind up now. That concludes our webinar for this afternoon. If you do have any more questions that come up following the session, certainly encourage you to reach out to the appropriate people prior to harvest. We'll be sending out a list of contacts for all of the key people within your cluster, site managers, area managers, marketers, etc., in the next couple of days on email. So certainly keep an eye out for that. Probably worth printing off and having it handy for harvest, and also make sure you update the contacts in your phone. But yeah, otherwise, thanks very much for attending the session this afternoon. Wish everyone a safe and trouble-free harvest. Thank you.